what do you think is next? I mean, so you've given us some exciting ideas, and so I might have already exhausted potentially new exciting things in this space, but drones, whether those are aerial or driven, that's something that's coming. But maybe what else is expected to change about our behavior? Like you were talking now, minutes ago about previously ordering from catalogs, companies knowing what their delivery route would be for the day. Now things are moving more quickly, real-time apps. You watch the cyclist come with Uber Eats, and you're hoping that it's hot, and algorithms like you were describing are helping ensure that my meal is getting to me hot. What could happen next? Is it just faster? I mean, what could be more real-time?
So, I think it's going to be hard to be more real-time, and you have seen, companies that, tried to do this, and they'll say, we're gonna guarantee a 5-minute delivery. I mean, I just can't imagine that the work that I've done, I'm pretty sure that isn't ever going to make sense. Whenever the faster you say you're going to deliver something, that means that delivery becomes more and more one-off. And, we like to talk about consolidation opportunities. That is being able to put multiple things onto one delivery vehicle that has, leads to economies that you want to take advantage of. So you start doing those one-offs, you're just not going to be able to make money doing that. But the other thing that's happening as we have moved into this sort of delivery economy, whether it's food or goods, is that means that there's more and more delivery traffic. And so I think that, that leads to, particularly as the environment becomes more and more urban, that's leading to more and more congestion.
Right.
You've certainly in New York, been impacted by, delivery vehicles not having anywhere to park. And so this driver has to do something. And it isn't true that they want to double park, but I know we've all seen it. And it also means that, as we increase congestion, we're increasing, at least as long as we have combustion vehicles, we're going to increase the emissions. And so I think as we, to me, the really interesting next step are the ways that we're going to rethink these delivery models. And drones would have been one example of that. You mentioned delivery robots is another. It's, there's been more than 10 years that companies have been, working with delivery lockers or having, maybe at a 7-Eleven, you might go and they'll have that, and you go and you pick up your package there, and because that's sort of a one stop, there's parking there generally and things like that. Two colleagues and my colleague here, Ann Campbell, and our former student, Sarah Reed, and I have been working on how would we change the delivery model if we had an autonomous vehicle. So, one...
I met Ann today. She told me that you were going to quote Tennyson.
I was going to quote Tennyson.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you're putting me on the spot. So the Charge of the Light Brigade, I guess.
Completely derailed you. My apologies.
What's that?
I completely derailed you. My apologies.
Oh, that's okay. You put me. I could have been, ready with something for you, but I'm surprised she said that. Anyway, okay. So we've been working on, how, what different things could you do if you had this autonomous vehicle that particularly was working with a delivery person. And, I probably Anne remembers this as well. We were talking about kind of what would be interesting about this. And we tend to go to lunch and went to this Chinese restaurant that we've had, I think, a number of good ideas while we've been eating lunch there. And sort of had this realization that, an autonomous vehicle could keep moving. And so what would that mean? Well, that means that I could, get off the vehicle. I could take a number of packages that need to be delivered. I could, as that delivery person, I could sort of deliver those around the block.
Oh.
And the vehicle could meet me.
Oh, yes.
And so what's the advantage of that? Well, one of the advantages is, as a driver, I don't have to find a place to park necessarily. So that's saving time. Then you don't know where you're going to end up parking necessarily because you're subject to the availability of parking. So that parking spot might be pretty far away. And so now I have sort of what we might call a deadhead, right? I have to walk to that first location, and at some point I need to walk back distances that I'd rather not have to walk. And so what if I could get off the vehicle and then it picks me up at the end of, when I've delivered those packages, and we go on to the next spot at which we want to deliver. And so that was some work that we did while Sarah was working on her dissertation. And it turns out particularly in urban areas, you can save a really large amount of time. And so what would that mean? Well, that means I need fewer vehicles to do the delivery work. And so now you have that possibility that we can reduce, the vehicle congestion, at least, associated with some of these deliveries. And, but it has other benefits. It could reduce the stress on the delivery person, right? Reducing, workplace injury, reducing workplace fatigue. It could help, preserve additional parking spaces in urban environments, and, consumers like that, the stores like that. So there could be a lot of, benefits from that. And of course, there's all kinds of other models. You have, models of the super block in Barcelona where, you're trying to put delivery zones outside of the block. And this gets us to some of the things we were talking about in terms of European cities. Now, Anne, Sarah, and I are continuing to work on a problem where we're thinking about what's the value of having dedicated commercial parking. How much would a company be willing to pay to have that available? How much should a city be charging in order to make that available? So I think that, this problem of the convenience that we have from these services also means that they're creating these other challenges. And so that question becomes how do we sort of improve those delivery services to then mitigate the challenges that it also creates?